why am I so passionate about health? Well, that has nothing to do with trying to have a good looking body or living as long as possible at all costs. I mean, if those things are byproducts, then fine. But my big drive for being passionate about health has to do with avoiding the issues that come with the standard American diet and just being at the whims of the marketing and the advertising that we hear from, big companies that are trying to make money. Because we all know that if you're just eating the standard American diet and being sedentary and consuming all the time and, sugar and whatever, any type of bad habits that you can think of that are pushed by companies trying to sell their products, right? That we're at a huge risk of heart disease and other preventable diseases that are lifestyle diseases. Heart disease is the number one killer in the US. And we don't hear about it that often. And I don't think there's necessarily evil behind it or whatever. The companies, they're trying to make money. That's how things are set up, right? And so their products are there for you to buy. But I think that's why it's so important that we're educated about, what the repercussions are of these bad, unhealthy habits and what the great benefits are of the good habits. If you're exercising and eating healthy and doing other things that now studies are starting to show. That's the great thing about these studies, and they're going to be put out. Obviously, they're not going to be funded. Kellogg's is not going to fund a study showing that sugar is bad for you, right? And on that note, I don't know if it's still the case, but I remember it kind of got me in an uproar in the past. Lucky Charms used to have, and maybe they still do, but a whole grains heart healthy stamp on the front of their box. This is a sugary cereal. And it kind of dupes people into thinking, maybe it's not so bad for my kids, and for whatever reason, we always think that it's okay to give like our kids sugary stuff and whatever, maybe just because they like the taste or they won't eat anything else. But, that's not good for them either. And the marketing and the advertising, a lot of that stuff is toward kids, right? And so to me, it's almost like if you're living a healthy life and you're exercising and eating healthy foods, you're a bit going against the system, so to speak. Now, I'm not just doing it to be a rebel, but again, I think that if we're just at the whims of the marketing and the advertising and the standard American diet, that we're not really that in control of our lives. We're kind of just going down this path that can lead to high risk of an early preventable death. And again, for me, it's not about living as long as possible. I might live to be, 90, 70, 100, 60, whatever it is. That's not my concern because that's a lot out of my control, right? But the stuff that is under my control are the choices I make and the foods I put into my body and trying to get enough sleep and trying to exercise, making those things priorities. Now, I totally understand. I've worked with people and I know a lot of people, super busy lifestyles, and maybe your job is crazy and you have a family and kids and it's just really hard for you to prioritize your health. But that's where I say it's all a spectrum. So on this end of the spectrum, you've got, extremely healthy habits, the ideal world, and you're getting enough sleep and you're eating healthy, you're exercising all the time. On this end, you got just throwing in the towel, not caring at all, doing whatever, right? Just at the whims of society, so to speak. But if you can tick it a little bit closer to that far end of the good spectrum, you're going to be making progress. So it's not just black and white. Sometimes we fall into that thinking like, well, I'm just going to give up because it's too hard to do all these things healthy. But that's where I think good coaching comes in, and that's where I can help people because I can get an idea of your lifestyle and the things that you currently do and don't do as far as healthy habits, and then help you decide what's realistic or not. And then we can put that into a plan of action and say, okay, here's the things that we know you can do. Here's the things to keep in mind. And here's some other things, but it's not too overwhelming. Anyway, that's where my passion stems from health and where I enjoy helping people and being able to coach them with healthy habits, because otherwise there's not much out there. Like if we just kind of go through life and get sucked right into the standard American diet, there's a really good chance that not only is our life going to end early, but it's going to end in kind of a tragic way, and those companies that are out there, they're trying to make money. And again, I'm not saying they're good or bad or whatever. It is how it is. And we have to work around it. We have to be educated enough to take control of our own lives and not just do whatever based on the marketing and advertising, that we're hearing. So that's my drive. I'd love to hear yours if you're passionate about health. So feel free to put that in the comments, and I'd love to read them.